You can call me.
Great. We have some people joined live. If you want to put in the chat where you're joining from, we'd love to know where you're from. I'm Sara McGowan and I'm logging in from California.
Airing live stream, the content. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to also live stream for social media because we have some people that will be attending via live stream. This is the everything you need to know about becoming a BG5 Career Consultant. And my name is Sara McGowan, and I work for the BG5 Business Institute. Tuck, if you want to hit next slide.
That would be helpful. Yes.
So my name is Sara McGowan. I am the assistant director at the Institute. I am an express builder with a 4-6 profile, and I'm very happy to be here today and introduce one of our phenomenal instructors that we have here at the Institute, Tuck Self.
That it. Well, thank you, Sara. I appreciate it. I don't know that I've been called phenomenal before.
Oh, you are.
There's a lot on the slide. I say it has everything to do with my age. I am excited to be here to be able to share a system that has absolutely changed my life. As you see here, I was introduced to it in 2003. And I have frequently said it's as if someone took their hand off of a cork that had been being held underwater, and free at last was how I felt. And so in 2017, when the opportunity came along to be a part of the BG5 community and to have a whole different language, as we're going to talk about today, to spread and share this body of work, I jumped in with all 4 of my extremities. And I am here today as all of these consultants that you see here, as well as an instructor. And I'm going to say right now, one of the things I love about this body of work and what I get to do is to meet and get to know and work with and play with and teach and empower and be inspired by individuals like Latia and Annie who are here. I love getting to know the people that are drawn to this work from around the world. And so I'm going to say welcome, like it says there. And I guess I can say this, Sara. I'll just go and ask Annie. Welcome, Annie, and ask you to introduce yourself.
Thank you. Also an express builder. I got into human design, BG5 BG5 later, but human design in 2021 when I started my practice. So I was a business psychologist for 25 years, working with organizations, mostly larger organizations throughout the world, doing assessments and coaching and training as well, leaders. And then I started my private practice in 2021, and I discovered just a few months later human design, and I dove right in. I felt like it really just kind of validated the things that I knew about myself, just the express builder. I mean, my mom, when I was younger, kept telling me, you have just too much energy. And I realized later when I uncovered the system that she's a reflector. And so, of course, for her, from her perspective, I had too much energy. So kind of realizing who I am and just kind of validating myself through the system, understanding, and we'll talk a little bit later, the most impactful things in my journey with BG5, but understanding, for example, that I have a solo assimilation. I love to work alone. I love to learn alone. I have independent assimilation. I have solo collaboration. So it's really kind of understanding how I work best. And I really dove into that system. I discovered BG5 just a couple of years after I discovered human design. I was working with someone for marketing my business, and she was using BG5. She was BG5 certified. And I realized that you could actually use this system to do things that I had been doing for years prior. So working with teams, working with small businesses, and helping them work better together, and partnering as well, with people and working better with their partners. And so what I realized is like, wow, you can actually do that just knowing someone's birth time, birth information. And I found that completely mind blowing. And I just like right went with my gut, like right away. That's my decision making strategy. I was like a full blown yes, let's go, let's do it. And I just wanted to learn the system. And it's been 2 years now. And I love it. And I'm still learning every single day. So very happy to have been on this journey and to be certified now and to be working with clients.
Yes. Thank, thank you, Annie. It's so great to have you. I appreciate your being here. And then welcome to Latia Few.
Hello, everybody. It's so great to have you here. I stumbled across human design first, similar to Annie. I was going through sort of a midlife crisis in
Mm,
2021, where I went through a I went through a divorce after being with somebody for 16 years. And I felt like my identity was connected to my ex. So I went on this self-healing journey and I just wanted to know, like, who am I? I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I liked because I just let somebody, I would say, gaslight me into kind of getting into their world. So I ran across human design and I got a reading from a consultant who was amazing. And some of the things she said was so true, but so painful at the same time. So I had to really get comfortable with this is just simply who I am. So then from human design, I went to Gene Keys. I became a guide because I wanted to learn more about the love sequence, the Venus sequence, why I make the decisions I make, why do I feel the way I feel. So going through the Gene Keys journey was also amazing to help me realize and accept some things about myself. And then that's when I came to BG5 because I'm very practical. I love solving problems. I consider myself a fixer. I love, similar to Annie, working by myself. I don't want anybody in my process. But I also love working in partnerships. So I love one-on-one dates and conversations. One of my favorite topics to talk about is relationships, unpacking the generational trauma. So BG5, I felt like was the right thing to get certified in because I'm a business coach. I'm also a project manager by trade. And like I said before, I just needed a system that was practical, that can really give you real solutions to a problem when you come to me as a client, when you come to me as a friend, a family. And BG5 is just the perfect system to work with. So I'm also honored to be a certified consultant now. And I'm also learning every day and talking about the content every day, practicing with my friends and family, pointing out things to why you are making the wrong decisions or decisions that's not correct for you or why you're feeling the way you're feeling. I love providing those insights. So I would highly recommend the system to anybody, especially if you love to learn, if you love just something unique and different. It's an amazing system to practice and just gain the knowledge and learn. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, I had to look real quick. Okay, Sarah, you're the odd person out. Not that you're odd. I'm
I
thinking
am
about
because I'm an advisor.
And Lucia and I, all three, are messenger authorities, and so that's where my brain went. Maggie's not here yet. Thank you, Annie and Latia, for being here. Sarah, I'm just going to go ahead and go to this slide and turn it back over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And so many of you are here today because maybe you're interested in BG5, human design with the business application, or you're possibly interested in becoming a BG5 career and business consultant. And so if you want to just take a moment to think about why are you here and what motivated you to sign up for this webinar today. BG5 is the perfect place for you if you're wanting to learn how you can fulfill your life purpose or learn what your life purpose is. You want to know how you can best work with others and help others do the same. You notice that the times are changing, especially in the workplace, and you want to know how you can best keep up with these changing times and with changing business. Perhaps some of you are also business owners and you want to learn how you can improve your business now and improve the teams and the work environment to fit everyone's needs. You want a career that can provide you with financial success, but also doing that in a fulfilling way, because I think we've all experienced maybe at some point that it's not all about the money signs, that you need to be satisfied as well with the work that you're doing. And some of you may also be coaches or consultants that want to expand your business. Maybe you're a teacher, you work with youth, you're a parent, and you know that this material can really help transform young people's lives. And also, with the way that life is so fast paced these days, we're seeing burnout and fatigue. And BG5 is a tool that can help people cope with the changes of the workplace and also just the changes of our world. And so, if any of these scenarios apply to you, you are in the right place, and we're very excited to have you here today. Today, we're going to introduce the BG5 Business Institute. If you are new here, we're going to review what is BG5. We're going to talk about the times we are in, your pathway to certification, what steps you'll need to take to become a BG5 consultant. And we also have our special guest here, Latia and Annie, who are going to be sharing their experience as we go through this webinar. And at the end, we're going to answer all of your questions live. So if you have any questions, please put those in the Q&A and we will get to those. If it's any question regarding the course or just BG5 and human design in general, we want to answer those pressing questions today. So about the BG5 Business Institute. BG5 is the business application of the human design system. And at the Institute, we are the only official source of the career and business application of the human design system. So in a place where anyone can claim anything these days, you can feel confident when you study at the Institute because we're the only school that is licensed by Jovian Archive to teach this leading edge proprietary system. And we're really focused on revealing what your true potential is based on your unique energy blueprint. And we use that by taking your birth time, date, and location to create your unique career design chart. And then when we learn about this chart, it's going to reveal what your hidden potential is, how you best work with teams in a career, organizations, and businesses. And as Latia and Annie shared, it can have a really transformational impact on your life. And we are also an accredited institute. And so that means that an outside agency is accrediting our program based on very rigorous standards. So you know when you study at the Institute, you're going to receive a very quality education, and you're also going to receive a lot of supports in place from our administration and our instructors. We have clear learning objectives. We have assessments for you, and this is all reviewed and certified by an outside agency. And so this is sometimes helpful for people, even if you don't want CEUs, just so that you know you're studying with a provider that you know you can trust. In the United States, for example, every public school, whether that is K through 12 or collegiate education, is accredited by an outside agency that gives a stamp of approval that the quality of education is up to their standard, right? And so since we're private education, this stamp of approval is very important to us. If you do want CEUs, you can use those for ongoing professional development. Some careers actually require CEUs to move up on the pay scale or to keep your certification, like sometimes coaches or therapists, teachers. So check with your HR department to see if they would accept our CEUs. And in some cases, employers may pay for the courses if you are accredited. For example, I used to be a teacher and we had professional development money that we could spend every year to further our professional development and help us in the classroom. And so this is something I would have been able to apply for and have my school district pay for. So you may be in a similar position. So I suggest looking into that if you're curious. And I just thought that this would be a good opportunity to ask Latia and Annie to also share, you know, there are many places where you can study human design, and there are many places in the world where you can study human design for business. What specifically drew you to want to study at the Institute?
I can start.
Okay.
I would say, for me, I have been searching for my purpose, I would say maybe since my early 20s. And I was raised in a family to go to school and get a good government job. And that's exactly what I did, which was so unfulfilling. You're just kind of like a robot in this job. You have your set duties, it's the same duties every day, every quarter. And I'm the type that just really gets bored. I want to make it, I just want to feel like I'm making an impact. I want to feel like I'm moving the needle forward. So yes, you're right. I followed a couple of young ladies on Instagram that were doing the human design for business, but I saw that they weren't certified. And then it was a whole debacle with them getting calling out about not being certified. And one comment struck me where they said, in her comments on Instagram, why take your course when I can just go to the BG5 Institute and take their certification courses? And that's how I honestly found out about BG5. So I went to the BG5 website, signed up for the foundations course, and here I am. I took this journey with Tuck for over a year, and I went through all of the courses, all of the semesters, and I went from beginning to end. And it was just important for me to have that real accreditation behind my certification, especially if I'm going to spend the money anyway. Why not really, be certified by the BG5 Institute? So.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. And Annie, what was your experience?
Well, Latia was saying it before. I also am very practical. And interestingly enough, I don't know how rare this is, but we actually both had the same life work theme. So I find that fascinating. We are different in the way that we get there, but I also had been searching for my purpose for a very, very long time. Even though I loved being a business psychologist, I did not love working in large corporations. And one of the reasons is my environment style is solo. It's not large businesses, right? So I was kind of doing my own thing. I was, when I was employed by large organizations, I was traveling around Canada and the northern US. And, I was delivering training. I was doing that, I would say semi solo. So I was doing my own thing. So I found my way within a large corporation. What I was looking for as I was then on my solo journey working for myself is something that I could apply that was practical and that spoke the business language of my clients because I loved the human design system. It helped me personally. Also, was going through a big midlife transits, like big separation, all of that kind of stuff. I moved around quite a bit from Montreal to Toronto, from Toronto to Mexico. Um, and I was going through a lot of, upheaval, which is my life theme in my personal life. So human design helped me. But what I wanted and why I joined this certification with BG5 is I wanted it to be practical. I wanted a structure. I wanted a step-by-step process, which is interesting for an express builder, but that's what I was looking for in this journey and I found that BG5 really delivered that, the school. It seemed long for me. I'm not going to lie. It was like a year and a half or something like that, the 2 semesters of foundation and then the 3 for certification. At the beginning, I was like, oh, is this going to be too long for me? Like I'm going down this road. But I knew the objective that I wanted. I knew I wanted to be certified and I knew, and this was proven in the final project. I don't know about you, Latia, but what I found when I presented at the end of semester 3, the project to my clients, real life clients that, by the way, I didn't know most of the people on the team, which was very scary to me to present to people that I didn't know. And it turned out to be amazing. Like there are people in there that actually within the team have roles with descriptions that exactly match their design. The actual words, like you cannot make that up. And so for me, I found human design was a little bit too woo, like the languaging of it for the clients, the business clients that I was working with. So I was looking for something practical. I was looking for a structure. I was looking for a step-by-step process. And I was looking for something that works. Like I've had feedback from clients who are like, this actually works. I don't know how you do this, but it actually works. And it's worked for me and it's worked for my clients so far. So yeah, definitely BG5's delivered, not gonna lie.
Thank you so much, Annie. I really love hearing both of your experiences and I hope that it's inspiring for some of the people on this call today.
My cheeks hurt from smiling.
I know, me too.
It's interesting. I'm just going to say one thing before I go into the BG5 section, listening to the two of you. Same thing happened to me when I was at the nonprofit. I was working with the management team there with human design, and it was uncanny how every single person, the CEO, the CFO, human resources, the individuals that were out in the community doing marketing for their particular part of the nonprofit, they were all the exact right career types. And it was gobsmacking. What I'm clear about is that they would have been a little more receptive to the material had I had a different language back in the day. So yeah, thank y'all so much for your shares and of course for being a part of the BG5 Institute with Sarah and me and everybody else. So I'm going to, Sarah, I think this is my part, right?
Yes. And it's a perfect segue into, human design versus the BG5 language and what it can do for you.
So as Sarah has said, BG5 is the career and the business application of the human design system. A couple of us today have talked about human design. I know I certainly came from that system originally way back in the day. The distinction and the difference between the two is that human design has a focus on your personal transformation. Literally, it is about awakening individuals. That's not our focus. That's not our vision here. At the BG5 Institute, again, Sarah talked a little bit about that at the beginning. We are absolutely committed to supporting individuals to be in the right work in the right way at the right time with the right people in the right environment. Individuals, and we've said that today, listening to you, Latia, and you, Annie, individuals are looking to feel aligned with what it is that they're given the lion's share of their life to. And so our job, what we do is we look at how individuals can be materially successful in their specific careers. I don't think we've said this, Sarah. A couple of years ago, 2023, I think it is, the Washington Post actually named human design as the in trend, up and coming, kind of like the Enneagram. I think for us to have BG5 to be able to apply that body of work to career, the professional environment is huge for those of us who are consultants. I'm going to flip forward here for a minute. One of the other things, other than waking people up versus, the transformation piece versus us putting people in the right careers, one of the other differences in terms of these two bodies of work. In the human design world, you'll hear people talk about conditioning and overcoming their conditioning in this long 7-year period. People don't have that kind of time to wait to be successful. So what we do in the BG5 world very creatively is we support you to become aware of, to recognize where that conditioning is, and more importantly, how do you utilize it to empower and forward your career. As a couple of us have said, the business language is more receptive, more applicable to what people are doing in the business world. And I think we can reach more people that way. So specifically, what do we do in this BG5 certification course? We're going to support you so that you learn how to make money. Most people have their head down, they're driven, blinders on, working hard for the paycheck and for the money. We are going to align you with your design so that you can be fulfilled and make money purposefully. And I'm going to say with joy, creativity, and ease, because those are my 3 favorite words. As a couple of us have said as well, we're looking at the different environments that each of us work in, ideally or not, solo, partnership, small group, and large group, because we can all work anywhere given we're entering that environment according to our decision-making strategy. However, as Annie said, certain environments are ideal for us. And so we're looking at that and we're learning about that. We're learning how, to best use our strengths and our gifts and our talents in those specific environments. Lastly, before I go to the next slide, I think I shared this on our call, Sarah. I went to this webinar with Tony Robbins and Dean Gracioso, and they said in this new landscape of work that we are all working in 2025 and beyond, we're going to have to do things differently. We need three things. We need a system. Well, hark, we have a system. You need a guide. Well, look, there's a couple of us here. That's what our consultants do. And number three, we need practical tools. And so that is what we do in our BG5 certification process, is provide you with tools that you can then take into your careers as a guide with this incredible system. I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute. Here is a worthy quote by Ra Uru Hu that speaks to how come the BG5 Institute has its own separate identity from human design. Again, with human design being about waking people up. Ra says everybody has to make a living, everybody has to survive with the level of consciousness that they have. I cannot, in all honesty, abandon those individuals, those beings. I know I cannot wake them up. I know that I cannot transform their lives in the sense that we understand transformation. And yet, at the same time, the knowledge of human design, it's not just there for those that will wake up. It's for us, y'all. It is for those of us who are here to be consultants. You can make a penta functional in a very simple way, and you do not have to be esoteric about it, and everybody is going to benefit. So that brings us to this point. I'm just going to pause to see if Sarah or Latia or Annie have anything to add before I move on. Anything that has come to you to add, just out of curiosity. Okay.
I just love that quote because it brings us back to why are we doing this?
And so this is what a couple of us have been talking about. I know Annie was talking about her semester 3 project. It's interesting, y'all, years ago when I was doing human design, this is back in 2003, I remember my mentors and coaches said, you can't talk like that, Tuck. It sounds like you're trying to take out people's organs when you use the word human design. Those very people that were my mentors, y'all, are immersed in this body of work today. So we are really on the cutting edge. But people ask, what does BG5 mean? What does it stand for? It stands for Base Group 5. Now, what we learn in the certification courses is that this base group of people, base group consists of anywhere from 3 to 5 individuals that have come together for a team or a business. And it literally is that foundational building block that's going to determine whether or not that business is a success. And it's a building block, that foundational building block for larger organizations like OC16 that we also teach in the BG5 Institute. However, this base group 5 of 3 to 5 individuals, it lives, it shows up, it demonstrates itself in what we call a penta dynamic, a unified group. And this is our little pentagraph over here. What we learn is that for that business to be successful, this base group, 12 core business skills are required. If you think about it, it makes sense. We're looking to have a reliable group of people together and a culture to the business. We're looking for that business to be coordinated, stable, and committed so that we can generate money and capacity and resources that align with the vision for this business and this team to go out and demonstrate itself with a plan that they administrate, accounting for what's happened with oversight, creatively implementing strategies that it can demonstrate itself out into the world. Now, I'm raising my voice, so I'm hopefully exciting people to come join us to learn about the unified group and the penta dynamic. And you, the individual, will come to understand what traits in your design relate to these skills so that you know how come you're comfortable or not in a small group. And like these ladies, Latia and Annie, who were working with companies, were able to go to that company and that team and go, gosh, you're missing this particular skill. This may be where your business is leaking energy. So a lot of really supportive information for businesses so that they understand, we understand the dynamics of a group and how come they're operating the way that they are operating. And we do it with our 4 maps here. This is our map for the individual, the solopreneur that Annie was talking about, those of us who want to work alone, entrepreneurially, just bring out our own hidden potential that's in our own design. So we spend a good deal of time on the career design chart. You will also learn how to work with partnerships, what we call a companionship chart. You know, people work together when they're a part of a team. Maybe you're looking to create a partnership. So we are able to dive deeply into that dynamic. Again, very excitedly throughout the whole process, we're learning about small group, penta dynamics. Again, are you comfortable in a small group or not, and how comes? And as I said, all pentas, they are the foundational building block for large organizations. Banu happens to be teaching the OC16 course right now. In our certification course, we will introduce you to that large dynamic organization as well, that dynamic as well, so that hopefully we entice you to do that certification after you complete this certification. So we have analyses and maps so that each of us, as we're working with clients, can go to any of these environments and reveal the hidden potentials. So again, does anybody want to add anything at this point? Just out of curiosity.
I just have a question. I think it might be good for Annie and Latia to share their experience if they are feeling up to it. But when working with clients, which chart do you think has been the most impactful for them or for yourself? What's given the biggest aha moment or made the biggest transformation?
I can start. I feel like the career design chart, it has been the most helpful for me and my clients, especially as a foundation. There's just so much information in there. There's gold. Like you could spend weeks on end, an hour a week with a client going through their design, and they would still want to know more. And I found it to be very validating for me and also for my clients. And, you know, what I've heard from clients is that they're so happy that they finally understand their design and they're able to make an impact in the way that they were meant to. They're able to manage their energy in a way that propulses them, like helps them move forward faster rather than burning out. So I find it's spending that time, and even just for me, like I have a defined route. I know now it's very clear to me when I'm putting pressure on myself and with people around me. Like there's aspects of my design that I really know very intimately now. And I'm able to see my partner, my life partner has an open route, and I'm able to see when I'm putting the pressure on him and when it's not his pressure and when he was absorbing it, for example. So that brings me to the companionship chart. It's been really helpful for me to have a life partner who has a very different design than mine because I'm able to understand certain things and convey them to my client in a feedback because I either have them in my design or he does. And so when I've analyzed our two designs together, Latia was talking about, love relationships and partnerships earlier. I found that fascinating, just looking at our designs and seeing where do we trigger each other? Where are we complementary? Where does one dominate the other, right? Just in my life, my personal life, that's been very helpful. But I've found in my semester project with my clients, I worked with a small organization, obviously 5 people, but there were also people working in partnership with each other. So being able to give the feedback to the client of this is how you best work with each other, this is where you're triggering each other, et cetera. That's been really helpful for my clients. And the Penta, I've only worked with honestly in the semester project so far. But again, the gaps are exactly where the client knew that they were leaking energy. It's exactly, when the client did the self-assessment of their business. I don't know about you, Latia, what your experience was, but, we did the self-assessment before and the client was realizing that they had areas that they wanted to improve on, which were exactly the areas that I found in the Penta. Well, I didn't find them, the human design system did, right? So I found that fascinating and again, very helpful for the client of not only understanding where the gaps are, but also how can we bridge those gaps. So I've worked with all 3, but mainly with the career design chart and companionship chart so far.
And I second everything that Annie said, especially regarding the career design chart. That is definitely the foundation. It teaches you so much about your energetic flow and then others' energetic flow. The white areas, the shadows, that's probably my favorite to kind of unpack and learn because I feel like just collectively we're dealing with so many shadow energy and a lot of people don't know how to manage their emotions. So I think if you really learn how to work with your shadows, that's how you can start to gain that emotional intelligence that we all need just as human beings to be able to collaborate, to be able to be in loving relationships and be, just being able to manage our emotions. The companionship chart, that's probably also my favorite because like Annie said, I do love talking about relationships, love relationships, but also business partnerships. So just kind of unpacking how you work with somebody else, like Annie suggested, while you're being triggered and some in certain areas. Just I feel like once you know this information, then you'll know how to interact with a partner in a more efficient way, in a more loving way. So that's probably also my favorite. And then the Penta chart. As a business coach, I'm about to transform into a relationship coach in a minute. But as a business coach, I do deal with a lot of small teams, 3 to 5 people. I actually use my small team at my full-time job for my semester 3 project. And it was just like mind blowing how many gaps we had. We had 7 out of the 12 gaps. But to learn that we do work pretty well together, but to also know how we trigger each other, why certain areas is not working in our collaboration when we get together, why somebody might feel a little pushy or micromanagey, and why somebody like myself just wants to work alone, leave me alone, tell me what I need to do, and then I'll come back to the group as needed. I don't need to be in the group every step of the way. Just give me my part and then I'll come back and then I'll collaborate. So just learning the different assimilation styles. You have some collaborators, you have some solo independent assimilations like myself, like Annie, and just knowing that about your small group. So then you know that somebody like me, I don't need to be in every decision, So it's just an amazing chart to work with. It's just learning just the different business skills, the 12 business skills, and then just learning, how to work with the gaps. Sometimes you're not going to have a team that has all 12 business skills. So if you don't, how do you work with that energy and make up for the gaps that are missing? So I would say the first 3 are my favorite.
If I can just add something real quick. As Latia was talking, it reminded me of all the things that we had seen in every single semester, every single class. And I've found the semester project I told you that, Tuck, to be like a synthesis of everything that we'd seen so far. It was amazing. And I remember, Tuck, every single class, I would have an aha moment, at least one in every single class. And I was like, oh my God, oh wow, oh, this really works. Oh wow, either about me, my partner, my clients, like whatever it is, like in every single class I had an aha moment. I don't know about you, Latia, but yeah, it's been an incredible journey for sure.
I definitely had the same aha moments. And like I said, I would even have those aha moments in real time with friends in the middle of a coffee date or a conversation. Just like, oh, that's why you think the way you think, because you're not even using your decision-making strategy, like just learning about
Yes.
the content and the success codes and being able to pinpoint why somebody thinks the way they think or why they, yeah, I definitely had a lot of aha moments, Annie.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, that's why my partner needs to listen to, like, 12 podcasts while he's
Exactly.
working, and he's in a meeting, and he's doing all the multitasking because he's collaborative assimilation, of course,"
Exactly. Yeah.
All of those, yeah, it's just fascinating.
You'll make me laugh out loud. That's so good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you resonated just a couple things. The nuances that are uncovered in all of these maps are quite spectacular. When you were talking, Latia, about the shadows, one of the things when we're working with executives and managers and business owners, they're going to come to us because they have problems. The problems are going to be found in the shadows. And so, well, thank you for bringing that piece up. Also, just to when I look at the Penta small group, most of my friends run away from me because they're afraid I'm gonna Penta them and put them in a small group and start telling them about how they're showing up. Our Sarah, our assistant director here, actually has implementation and public relations, which is the voice, the person that is the voice and the expression, the public expression of the BG5 Institute. I think it is spectacular, so I thought I'd bring that out. Sarah, since you are a 1-8 and you are here, that you are the public relations for the small group Penta. I'll keep going. I think we talked a lot about the side, there are two sides to this body of work. Going through these semesters, Latia and Annie went through with me the foundation and then the 3-semester courses. So we learned deeply about ourselves, everything there is to know about ourselves, and it gives you the opportunity to be able to do that for your clients as well. And then as we have been talking about the 4 environments from the previous slide, the one thing to add here is what we are making individuals aware of is that there is this underlying frequency and invisible dynamic, y'all, that when we walk out our door and walk into the world and interact with other people, there is this invisible frequency dynamic that pulls us to people, small groups, partnerships, large groups, and it's happening unconsciously. And it has the capacities you see here to condition, homogenize, and I don't like this, but it dumbs us down. And so what we're doing in the certification classes is giving you everything that you require to be aware of, to recognize that invisible underlying frequency and dynamic, how it operates, and how to use it for you, to use those influence for your good in terms of your personal career, business, and again, the people that you are working with. So those are the two sides, yourself and others in the many environments. And 2 things when we talk about BG5 being the assessment tool of the future, I come from the old school. I have the thought that the 3 of you come from the new school. You know, it was Myers-Briggs, Strength Finder, and DISC back in the day. I know there are a lot more up and coming assessment tools, but we are the assessment tool of the future. What makes us different is that not only are we identifying gifts, strengths, talents, the roles that are best for us, our particular system taps into the unconscious influences. We all know about the unconscious design side. So what's happening there? Other assessments don't have that aspect to them. Also, it is the personality, it is the conscious aspect of individuals that go sit down and go through all of these questions, multiple choice questions that we answer for these other assessments. Again, it's the conscious personality doing that. We, again, have access to the unconscious. We only ask you 3 questions: your birth time, your birth date, your birth location. Those do not change. Whereas the other assessments, if I go sit down this month and answer it and then go back next year and answer it again based on my mood, because I am a moody person, it's going to change. And so the dynamics, those 2 things are very, very specific to this particular assessment tool. And I have the thought that every single one of us would say the level of specificity, the level of the depth of the uniqueness is unparalleled to me with the BG5 system. So somebody raise their hand if I know what I'm doing, Sarah? Ben?
Ben, if you'd like, I can allow you to talk. And then you can unmute yourself now if you have a question. Oh, he says, most regular folks and business people don't know their birth times. Since you need an exact birth time for an accurate body graph, how do you make human design and BG5 practical for them?
It's a great question, and we actually answer that in the certification courses. However, and I think our new Maya Mechanics, if I'm not crazy, Sarah, what did I read the other day?
Yeah, it's like, so the software, so say your birth time is estimated, it has the ability to like run the chart. I want to say it's like maybe 8 to 12 hours forwards and backwards to see if anything changes in the chart. and then how much changes, so that you have a reliability score with the birth time. And you're able to get that software once you're in certification semester 2. So that's one way. And for example, like my son, he was born via C-section, and they forgot to account for the birth time when he was born, but I knew it was within this like 15-minute window, right? And so I was able to, look, 15 minutes forward and back, and say, okay, yeah, no, this is his design. It didn't change at all. And then there's other aspects, Tuck, you may know more about it, where you can hire, is it an astrologer to help you have a birth time rectification. And we have some students that have gone through that process.
Yeah, I haven't really had that problem. Usually they'll know morning, midday, or evening, and the charts don't necessarily change. But we do teach you in the certification to begin to recognize when you're interacting with someone and they don't know their birth time. Look for these specific characteristics, and you will maybe be able to discern whether they are an express builder versus an advisor. What is their public role? So you'll become really familiar with the different elements, the basic elements of a design, and be able to maybe better support the client to know what those are if they absolutely can't find it. I just actually never had anybody not have their birth time, believe it or not.
I know Mari Smith, one of our students, she didn't know her birth time. She just knew the birth date, and she was able to get that through working with someone one-on-one. So it looks like we did answer his question, though. He gave us a thumbs up, and let us know if you have any other questions. It's a real common one, so I'm glad you asked it.
All right. I know you alluded to this a minute ago, Sarah, so I won't spend a whole lot of time here other than, fifth lines, fifth quality fives. We're all about practicality and truth. And the truth is, y'all, we are in a major time of transition, and we're looking for practical tools in a practical way to get us through this major time of transition. Years ago, when I was introduced to human design, I heard Ra talk about this very time we're in right now that is breaking down. Human design in BG5, there is an evolutionary map and process where we go through eras of time. And where we have been for many, many years is in this era of planning, where we have built everything around our institutions, our organizations, communities, healthcare, political, educational, banking, all of these big institutions and communities that were built on collective agreements and bargains. And we have given our power over to these entities that they know better for us than we know for ourselves. And when I came along, it was to go to school, find a skill, do that skill, hone that skill, go get a job where you can express that skill. You're going to get your paycheck, and then you're going to retire and get your watch. I don't think it's exactly like that anymore, because we're moving away from that. But that's working alone competitively, to drive myself to climb the corporate ladder. I'm going to say we're kicking that to the curb. Those ways of working are being dismantled literally in front of our eyes. And what grounds me and many of the people that I work with is to know that this has been foretold, and that we're moving towards the age of individuality that focuses on each and every one of us as an individual. What makes my heart sing? What makes your heart sing? What brings forth the abundance of your spirit? Are you giving your time and your talents and your energies in a way that allows you to express your unique gifts? Are we trusting ourselves versus the external authorities? And then as we come to this exercise of professional work, authentically being who I am, you doing what you love, we're going to come together and bond and connect and create things, I think, in ways that we have never experienced before. So I, for one, am very excited about the major time of transition and what we have. I think you alluded to this, so I won't spend a lot of time here, Sarah, other than to say all of the ways of working are changing: how we interview, how we onboard, where we work, how we work, when we work. I think it was the Seven Dwarfs that said, hi ho, it's off to work I go. That's not the way it is anymore. And there has been this concept called the Great Resignation. Sarah, you alluded to these things earlier. During the pandemic, people had time to reflect and re-examine what they were doing and what they were giving their time and talents and energy to. No longer willing to be frustrated. Work-life balance is huge. The one that I love the most is that 39% of the people want to be authentic. That speaks volumes to me, and it excites me for myself and Latia and Annie and all of our other BG5 consultants to be able to work with those individuals. There's this trend called quiet quitting, where, and I've experienced this when I've gone in and worked, people are doing the bare minimum to get by. They're only doing what they need to do. They're not engaged. 59%, and then there's 18 that really doesn't even care. They're just non-engaged in a very loud way. We are very excited that we have the BG5 as a powerful tool for the shifting times that we're going through. Again, each one of us have said, as we have talked today, that we have this beautiful way to support individuals to tap into their personal power, to live authentically, to work authentically, to make the right decisions about where we work, how we work, when we work, who we work with, and we're going to do it in a fulfilling way in the right environments. As Donna Summer says, we're not going to work hard for the money anymore. We're not going to bargain and work just for a paycheck. We want to identify physically, emotionally, intellectually with what we're doing and feel as if we're a part of something bigger than who we are individually. So I'm going to step down out of the pulpit, Sarah, and hand it back over to you to see if you have any questions for Latia and Annie before we go to the pathway.
Yeah, just thinking back on, your life before BG5 and your career, do you feel, I think you've already alluded to this, but if you could provide a specific example of how this course, this material has changed the way that you approach your work or life. I'll say for me, for example, I found BG5 because I was burnt out and I was unsatisfied, and I just couldn't picture myself for the next, 30, 40 years, participating in the rat race, for a paycheck and always on the grind. And I just was seeing myself become so miserable. And COVID was actually that time period that allowed me to like step back and reflect and be like, whoa, this is unhealthy and this is unsustainable. And when I was able to let all of that go with absolutely no plan, it was interesting how BG5 found its way into my life. And I just didn't know if you guys had any other anecdotal, information that you could share on kind of how you got here.
I would say for me, Sarah, it was a similar thing. Just being engulfed in the rat race, going to work for a paycheck is definitely not something I wanted to do until retirement. But I also realized before I encountered BG5 that I used to force my way into conversations and spaces and opportunities with my opinions. That's a part of my design. And I used to be taken aback when my opinions weren't well received because I'm like, I know what I'm talking about. I have the knowledge. So it made me feel really bitter and rejected. And it was just exhausting for me and everyone else. So through the BG5 journey, I learned that my personal interaction style, which is one of the success codes, is waiting to be recognized and wait for the invitation. So when Tuck invited me to this panel, I was like, oh, this is the perfect invitation. I'm going to accept it. It's what I love to do. And then I just realized forcing things wasn't going against my natural energetic flow. So now I let the opportunities come to me. I decide what opportunities to accept. And it just feels effortless moving forward. Sometimes it's a little hard to wait and be patient. But, just learning how to work with my design and just letting things flow, I feel like I have now a more balanced work-life situation. So that's what I would say for me. And it's just, I'm more aligned and I'm more fulfilled in all areas of my life.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on the train here. The worst thing for an express builder is waiting. But I've learned through this journey to wait to respond. And I found that it's changed completely the way, especially that I show up with my clients, but especially the way that I market. I've deconditioned myself from the shoulds, and I've learned to wait to respond instead of being like, I should go out there. I should post today. You know, my marketing person said that here's my calendar and I got to go out there. And I've learned that for me, first of all, I'm a 5'1". So the knowledge, sharing my knowledge and knowing my stuff is super important, which is also why I took this certification. Um, and I can't just wing it. And so the way in which I market is to showcase that, hey, like I know what I'm doing. Here's my certification that proves it, for example, or here's the content that I'm sharing. Um, Also, I've learned, for example, to partner with ChatGPT and Claude to help me with my marketing, because I realized that I was like just sitting there like this guy here. I was just like sitting there being like, huh, what could I post about today? I don't know. And I was trying to make it up. And I have an open conceptualization and inspiration function. Of course, I was gonna like rotate forever with these questions in my mind. And I realized, wait, I'm just gonna like write something, you know, write a prompt in ChatGPT or Claude and respond to what Claude or ChatGPT writes to me. And I will create my content that way. I'm going to respond and say, oh, I like this line. I don't like this line, or I can tweak this line or not this line. And so just the way in which I show up to market and just the content even that I create, not doing it by sitting on my couch and thinking for an hour and having nothing to show for it, but really reacting to something and waiting to respond. So waiting to respond for me, I learned, isn't just sitting on my couch. It really is going around, living your life, walking around, seeing signs, like literal actual signs that make you think of something. That's completely changed the way that I work and the way that I market.
And I can relate being an express builder, because in my previous career, I was always trying to initiate and I felt like I had to go out there and make it happen. And then I would get so frustrated because you're trying to hold all the pieces together and then things are falling apart and your cup is overflowing. And it makes sense now finding BG5. That's not how I'm designed to walk through life. I'm not designed to initiate. And so it's like, what a relief, you know. And we have Maggie here with us. Thank you for joining, Maggie. Hope you're doing
Hello.
well. If you'd like to introduce yourself to everyone and maybe just share how you found BG5 and what you like about it.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, and for Tuck for extending the invitation for me to respond and say yes. Good to see Annie and Latia as well. Yeah, I first was introduced to human design, and in my excitement, I went and started to look into how I could learn more about this. And that's when I discovered the International Human Design School, which then I got so excited and lit up to see and learn about BG5. And I actually remember I sent an email right away inquiring, and I had a great phone conversation with you, Sarah. I don't know if you remember, a little while back, and it was so affirming to hear that I could come to the first class and listen, and it felt very digestible and so aligned with my previous career path and where I wanted to go and inspire others with this information. I'm so grateful for these courses, both the foundation and the certification courses, and just continuing to unfold the layers of feeling really grounded in this information and sharing it as well in a group each week, whether it's in the forum or in our live classes, has been so valuable to respond to since I'm a builder. And yeah, all of these open centers, Annie, I definitely resonate with what you were just sharing. With all these spaces open, it's not just waiting around to see what comes through. There can be a lot of confusion in that, or overwhelm, and it really doesn't have to be that way. When we are able to bounce ideas off of others and share what's coming up for us and ask questions, and having this space with Tuck and with these BG5 courses to get that grounded, solid information to say, yes, this resonates, and we'll continue to peel it back until it really does, feels really wonderful. And I'm so grateful for that.
Thank you, Maggie, for being here and for sharing, all of you. It's been really lovely having you here.
Thank you.
Your pathway to certification. I believe this is my part. If you want to go to the next slide. So those of you joining us today, if you have taken foundation, which is this blue icon here, it's 2 semesters, you're prepared to jump into the BG5 Consultant certification course. If you haven't taken foundation, we recommend that you start here. However, if you've been studying human design for a while, you may qualify to jump into the BG5 certification course. So if you've taken the 3 IHDS courses at the International Human Design School, the foundation courses there, you're going to qualify and meet the prerequisites to take BG5 certification. So we'd love to help you with that. And whatever point you're at in your journey, you're in the right place today, because we can help you navigate if you are very experienced, if you're an analyst already, or if you're just starting and you just got your chart today. We have options for you. And like, I think it was Annie who said today that at first it seems like a 1.5 year long course seems like so overwhelming, but once, we're going to be here to help you every step of the way and help you cross that finish line. And it is going to come a lot faster than you think. And it's going to be a very transformational process. So if you're excited for that, you're really in the right place. Now, once you're in BG5 certification, you do have the option to take our advanced courses once you're in semester 3. And we have OC16, which is all about large business dynamics. That's groups of 10 people or more. We have profit potential, which Tuck Self is most likely going to be teaching here soon. And that's all about how to profit by being yourself. And so it kind of goes against what we've always learned, right? Is that we have to go out there, we have to make it happen, we have to make the money, and instead leveraging who you are to make the most and maximize the most in this material world. And then we also have Cycles. And Cycles is a 1 semester certification taught by Michael Brown. And so that's also a great option for you if you're interested in advanced courses. And in the BG5 certification course, this is really perfect for you if you love this information and you want to make a living doing what you love. So if you are really satisfied by empowering people, you want to move the needle, you want to inspire others, becoming a BG5 certified consultant is a way that you can both profit and also make a difference in the world. And this course is a year-long journey. So it's 3 semesters long. Each semester is 10 classes. And you're going to learn how to both understand yourself, your clients, the teams that you work with in a really deep and profound and impactful way. And so it is a very transformational course. You'll really get to know the individuals in your class very well. You'll get to know Tuck very well. And it's a very special moment, the last day of class. When you guys are about to graduate after you've turned in your projects. It's a very fulfilling and satisfying way to learn this information. And I'm going to pass it over to Tuck. She is going to be leading a course soon, and she's most equipped to talk about what this course is all about.
Yeah, soon. It's actually maybe about 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really excited that Latia and Maggie and Annie are here as well with, as completed consultants, having gone through this 3 semester, actually 5 semester, if we look at the foundation courses together. And it has been a delight listening to you all. I think it's important for people to know that they can go to the BG5 Institute, the website, and look up consultants. If they want to work with you all, that they will be able to find you there. That happens after you go through the 3 semester process that we're looking at here. That is that 10 classes each that Sarah talked about. Semester 1 really is all about the personal career design chart. All of the dynamics of that chart, the nuances are there so that you can fully understand yourself. But we're learning to deliver the first of these 6 success codes. In semester 1, you're learning to deliver those first 6 success codes to your clients. You know, we're looking to intrigue people to come and work with us for the long haul, to come and have a full career design analysis. Again, semester 1, we're introducing you to everything that you need to know to go out and deliver a career design overview. We also will begin to talk about that underlying invisible frequency that I mentioned a minute ago, that pulls us into partnerships, small groups, as well as large groups. Semester 2, you're learning how to do a full career design analysis. So you're going to bring in all of these success codes. You will also learn how to do a partnership analysis. Now, the brilliant thing that the BG5 Institute has done, every one of these semesters has a project that you're required to complete at the end of that semester. Once you have completed your project, for example, for semester 1, you can begin delivering that overview. You can begin charging for that overview. It's just important that you hold full disclosure that you're still a student and you're not yet certified. Same with semester 2. Once that project is approved, you can deliver full career design analyses and partnerships and begin charging for those. Semester 3, as Annie has said, kind of brings everything together. That's when we dive into working with executives, managers, business owners, delivering an Alpha 1 leadership analysis, and we learn how to work with the small businesses and teams. The Penta that we looked at earlier, we dive deeply into the 12 business skills, all of those underlying dynamics. Again, we look at all 4 environments, y'all, including the OC16 as an introduction. And then you have your project there at the end of semester 3, where you get to go and work with a company, the way that Latia and Annie have alluded to today. So that's the process. This is a lot that we get to cover. That's the end of that section. Anything for you here, Sarah, in wrapping this part up?
No.
Okay. So I think this is me becoming a BG5 consultant. We have all talked a lot about this, and so I'm going to invite Annie and Latia and Maggie to come in as well and make any contributions. What does it mean for you in the world to be a BG5 consultant? I'm going to say everything because it allows us to not only transform ourselves, but we have the opportunity to make a huge impact and transform the way that businesses are operating out in the world today, in terms of introducing ourselves and others into the mechanics of how these environments operate. We're looking for passionate people like those of us who are on the call today to help us move this body of work out into the world in a bigger way. Years ago, I think I did a Gallup study. I studied where a Gallup poll was taken, and it said, y'all, that I think 75% of the people who were working were not psychologically, emotionally, intellectually connected to what they were doing in the world, and they really wanted to be a part of something bigger than who they were individually. I really do believe we have that system and that way of working with people in our hot little hands to support people to be in the right work, to do what they love, to love what they do. And in that process, remember, we're creating healthier work environments. At the beginning of the webinar, Sarah mentioned a lot of these different ways that we can use the BG5 system. Again, if you are a business owner, a manager, or a leader, you might want to increase the success of your business and or your team. You may want to interact with your employees in a way that makes them feel valued, remember, gives them an opportunity to grow. As a coach or a consultant, like Latia and Annie and Maggie, you can work with your clients to empower their gifts and their strengths and their talents, align them to work that's authentic in a way that's easy, and then we are going to make money and we are going to prosper, y'all, as a byproduct. We can work with businesses that are startup businesses, HR departments. A lot of consultants want to work with the younger individuals, college graduates, high school people, to begin to pull that potential forward and align them with the right work. As we've said here, for-profit, nonprofit, struggling business owners. It is all about authenticity. And we are a problem solution focused business. So we're going to meet our clients where they are. We're going to listen to what their problems are. We are not shoving information into them. We're drawing out what it is that they are, their challenges, their desires, their hopes, and their dreams. And we're going to support them to find a solution to that. And again, profit as a byproduct. So I'm going to stop there, Sarah, and hand it back to you and see if Maggie and or Annie and Latia have anything to add here. Do we have a question, Sarah?
No, I've just been connecting with some people via the chat to see where they're at in their journey with BG5 and human design. Annie, Latia, or Maggie, do you have anything to share or add?
I would just add that BG5 is really like a gift to yourself, more than anything. If you ever felt like you're not living up to your potential, or if you feel like you're forcing to fit into life or a career that just doesn't feel right, this course will definitely change everything and provide you with some really practical insights. It just doesn't teach you, it really transforms you, I think. And it's not about fixing yourself because you're not broken. It's really about just understanding how to live as yourself and just how to live like you were always meant to be. So I would just say trust the process is definitely worth it.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. And personally, when I started this journey, being a solopreneur, you have like 15 hats and you're trying to do everything. And I was a little bit overwhelmed, I'm not gonna lie. And as I was going through this journey, I had more and more clarity on, my strengths, what I do well, what I don't want to be doing anymore, what I want to delegate, all of who I really want to work with, what I want to do in my business. And so it just brought me more clarity, less overwhelm. And I think had I not had talked in this system throughout and certification, I probably would have burnt out at some point trying to do too many things for too many people. And so it's been really good for me, and also finding out for myself how to best profit, for my clients as well, helping them through the process. So yeah, no regrets. It's been really, really, really transformative.
Yeah, I will echo, and just it's so much more than we could have ever thought signing up for it. I believe each week in the forum, having these questions that are meant to be teaching us and reflecting on what was covered in the course at like face value. But then when you go and do these assignments, all of the insights that you get to really take the time and space to reflect on yourself and your journey, and then also an opportunity to see others in your life expressing their authenticity, or when they're out of that. I know for myself, and I've been fortunate enough to assist Tuck in teaching students with the foundation courses so far, and seeing their insights, and that it is on such a personal level, and that's a ripple effect that we share out into the world. So really just that same message of affirming is so transformational. Affirming ourselves, affirming those around us, it helps us all in all of our society see through a different lens, and that over time can change the world. So we're all very fortunate for these.
That was said so beautifully, Maggie.
Thank you.
I think this is you, Sarah, isn't it?
Yes, this is our course and package pricing. So if you would like to start your journey in not only making a big difference in your life, but making a difference and impact on the people around you and in the world, and you want to become a BG5 consultant, then this course is the place to start. And the investment is $4,200, and that covers all 3 semesters. Plus, if you buy the package, we will throw in 4 complete reports for $5 each. That's a $356 value. And when you get into semester 2, we'll also give you unlimited discounted reports. The discounted reports are a great option because it allows you to sell reports on your website at our full price, and then you purchase it with a discount, and therefore you're able to make a profit. but you're also able to then use these discounted reports to also run promotions for your business. So we do this for consultants as a perk and for students, really to help you get your business going and to help you generate some interest, some freebies, and also make some money. And so I'll put the link to purchase the package in the chat, but you're also able to just purchase the course by semester. So if you're interested in purchasing just semester 1, I'll put that in the chat as well. And you can register there. And the course starts January 23rd, which is going to be a Thursday, and it's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if coming to the webinar today and your time zone worked out well for you, this is the time that the class will be. The prerequisites, as we talked about before, are either BG5 Foundation or the IHDS Foundation courses. If you qualify via the IHDS Foundation courses, please just email our office admin, and I'll put that email in the chat in a second, and she will definitely set you up with the appropriate payment links that you need and verify that you qualify with that prerequisite. We also require the BG5 license and MMI software. Just take note that that is not included in the package. So if you intend to fully become certified and work with clients, you will need to first purchase the BG5 license. This allows you to use this proprietary system and our trademark. And then also the MMI software, which is where you're going to be able to do the individual charts, the partnership charts, and also the penta charts with that software. And while you're in the course, if you can go to the next slide, Tuck, this is potentially what you can earn as a certified BG5 consultant. So these are the possible services. You're not limited to those services, though. I will say that something that's becoming very popular is working individually with one-on-one clients long-term. And so some people aren't doing maybe a traditional overview, but more covering the aspects in an overview or a full career analysis, and coming up with coaching packages where it's ongoing. And I think someone mentioned here today on our panel that there's some clients who may want to come back to you week after week, and you're going to have enough information to share with them week after week and keep them interested. And they may have different problems that arise in their workplace or in their business, and you're going to be able to provide that solution to them as a BG5 consultant and with very accurate information. Once your semester 1 project is approved, you can start offering career design overviews and coaching clients or friends or family and charging for those services. Now, you can adjust your price based on your experience, how confident you are in delivering the material, maybe where you're located, what the cost of living is compared to the income. And so your price may look different, maybe a little less, maybe a little more than what the average price listed is, but you do have the potential to, by the time you're finished with the course, start working with clients, start building your business and earning an income. So you don't have to wait till that year-end mark to start your business. After semester 1, you're going to be able to work with clients and start earning back your investment. So hopefully that is helpful for you, because we all want to learn, but we also have to be practical, and we have to live and earn a living. So it is possible, and hopefully these numbers illustrate that.
Yeah, I'm going to add one thing. I don't think we've had anybody in our semester, y'all, maybe we did, but you were talking about the time zone, Sarah. I have actually had individuals outside of our time zone go through these courses, and there was the most incredible young man from, I think it was either Taiwan or Singapore, I cannot remember, Jason, who would get up at 1 a.m. every morning and come to class with the perkiest attitude. I never knew how he did that, but fully engaged, fully there. And, given that's the only way someone can attend, I am more than happy to connect individually outside of the class if that's a requirement. So in terms of time zones, I did want to
we do teach to a global audience, and for foreign language students, if English isn't your first language, we are very familiar with making the appropriate accommodations, no matter what language you speak or where you're located, what time zone. We're very familiar with it and can support you.
Yeah. Okay. One more thing before we go to the testimonial, since we have so many 5-1s here. We talk about 5-1s liking to go in and get out when we're working with small and large groups. Being a turnaround consultant, being someone that, maybe gets hired on retainer to go in and out, that's a great opportunity for some of us as 5s and 6s as well. So I thought I'd throw that in. Sarah, before we close out with the last couple of questions for our guests, did you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. I was just wondering if each of you could share one piece of advice for someone who's considering this course. So if you had one piece of advice for someone considering the course, what would it be? And you can jump in whenever you're ready.
Follow your decision-making strategy.
That's a good
For
one.
me, it was follow your gut. I just knew and I jumped in. For others, they'll need to wait on it. I mean, yeah, be who you are as you're making your decision.
I love that, Annie. I would say don't look at things as right or wrong. Just look at it as it just is. So that would be my one piece of advice.
Yeah, I love what you both shared. And yeah, getting too much in your head about all of this information, whether it's to make the decision to move forward or as the class progresses, really taking it one step at a time, taking the information, being present with it. I got into, like, towards the beginning, I was asking Tuck, I remember multiple times, like, how do I memorize this? In school very long ago, I told myself, oh, I have to memorize. So really getting out of the head and into the present to receive the information.
And what hesitations, if any, did you have before enrolling in the course? And how were they addressed during the course?
Yeah, I would agree. I believe Annie shared that Chuck, when it's 1.5 years, when you see that before starting the whole journey, it sounded like, oh, that's such a long time. So that was my one small moment of hesitation, but I did follow my gut and I said, it's in depth and it's that amount of time for a reason. And as the class started and I was present to the information, like I just shared in the advice, I realized why, and it goes by. And it's so beautiful to have such a depth of knowledge about it, to really understand it more instead of just, there are courses available maybe in human design out there that might be like an 8-hour webinar thing, but this is so in depth where you really can understand and truly make a difference in people's lives with it.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think it's paced really well. And for people like us, Maggie, who are express builders, I was like, oh my God, it's going to be way too long. But actually, it goes by really fast and it's paced so well that you're able to, kind of like human design, experiment with it. That's the whole point. Experiment with it as you go, as you're going to learn not only in your head, but also as you experiment with it with your body in your life. And that's also why it's paced that way, so that you have that time to digest all the information and experiment.
For sure.
And I would say my biggest hesitation was similar to what Ben asked around how to ask people for their birth data and for it not to sound like astrology all the way. So I was struggling with how to communicate the practicality of the BG5 system and kind of removing the stigma of astrology. So that was my hesitation before signing up. Was it something that I can clearly communicate? Is it something that people would feel comfortable handing over to me? And as Ben expressed, what if you don't know your birth information? Would I be able to provide them with their design? So I would say that was probably my biggest hesitation.
Tuck, do you have any follow-up questions?
No, I'm going to say it again. Being a part of the BG5 community, the BG5 Institute, having the opportunity to not just share the BG5 information with Latia and Maggie and Annie, but the interaction, the opportunity to learn from them, to be inspired by them, what they do in the world. I think this is a great community. Not only is it a great system, it's a great community. And I feel really privileged to be able to partner with everyone here and move this body of work out into the world. So I don't know. I'll just say, do you have any final parting words, Latia, Maggie, and then Annie?
I would just say, like Annie said, follow your decision-making strategy. If you are a follow your gut, like Annie and I, go with your gut. And if your gut is telling you to sign up for the course, go ahead and sign up.
Yeah, I would say it's been an incredible journey, and I absolutely do not regret signing up at all. It has enriched my life in every single way, both personally and professionally. And yeah, like, just if you're hesitating, if you're on the fence, I would say just go for it.
Mhm. Yes, I want to applaud everyone that's attending to get more information, to tune in and see what resonates with you, what feels right. And I hope that we all have painted a picture of how much value that, is so even can't even fully describe, because again, like the lens that you see things through just opens up so much in life, personally and professionally. As Tuck mentioned, the community, there's a lot of layers that you wouldn't necessarily expect on face value. There's so much more to it. So thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, y'all, thank you so much for being here. You know I get tired of being the one talking all the time, and I think it has made such a big difference to have the three of you here speaking from your own personal experience, having gone through the courses. So honestly, thank you for your time and your contributions today.
Thank you for your passion, Tuck, in conveying all of this knowledge.
Oh,
Thank you.
message that I am, right?
Definitely register with Tuck. She'll make the courses fun, engaging. She was an amazing coach,
Yeah.
consultant, teacher, instructor. She was amazing. So yeah.
Yes.
If you ever want to assist, please know there is an open invitation to the three of you, okay, as I move forward.
I would love to, Tuck. I would love to. So
Thank
we can
you.
connect
Yeah.
offline.
Okay.
Where are we, Sarah?
Well, that's a
Think
good question. I just feel like we were having such a moment. You guys, it was really beautiful to see. Are there any questions from any of our attendees today?
Yeah.
We're going to share this slideshow with you because it has some helpful information. Go ahead and please put any questions in the chat. Eva, thank you so much for being here. She's also, I believe, a certified consultant. She's definitely gone through the course. It's great to have you.
And if I'm not crazy, I think Amanda took foundation with me. I could be completely off. I don't know why.
Yeah, she did. Amanda Wingate has taken foundation
Way back.
with you in 2023.
Yeah, well, maybe that's not way back.
So it's nice to have you back, Amanda.
Oh yeah, I saw your name and I was like, I know that name. I've seen that name before. We took foundations together.
I thought
Oh,
the
good to
same.
see. Good to see your name again. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, feel free. She says, hi, I did. Please feel free to put any questions in the chat. You can also email us. I have some helpful links and some information to share in these slides, and we can email that out to all of you. I just want to say once again, thank you so much to Maggie, Latia, Annie, and Tuck for being here today, for sharing this transformational information and helping to further getting this out in the world and making a difference in humanity. We can't do this without all of you. So thank you so much for being here. And for those of you that tune in later or have listened on social media, just know that we are not here to pressure you into making a decision. We want you to follow your strategy and authority and do what's best and aligned with you. But just know that we are here to support you every step of the way. So this is an open invitation to please reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you and help you no matter where you're at in your journey, whatever financial position you're in. We have options for everyone. So look forward to connecting and have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.